You also told me that you have something like a boat festival.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me about it.
So I'm from a town called Aarhus, where we have Aarhus University.
Mm-hmm.
And each year, I think it's in the end of April, the beginning of May, it's on a Friday each time. The university holds like I think you would call it like a beer race. In Denmark, you would call it like a beer stafette. Where I think it's 14 like groups from different faculties. So for instance, I'm from the Faculty of Arts, and we have like a group called Humbug. And then like economy have one, I think it's called UF or something like that. So you have like 14 different groups who they make a team of, I think it's 5 people who have to do a boat race. Okay. So basically we have like a lake. It's not a really big lake at all. It's really small, where the boat race would take place there. And during that event, like when they actually are doing the race, I think they start out with, usually you can see like the teams, they're standing in line. Like usually you have 3 teams who's like competing against each other. And then you would see how they run, and they don't sit into the boat, they actually jump into it, because usually I think some groups practice for like half a year to a year.
Really?
Yeah, and some of them actually they skip a semester because they're really into it. Yeah. So they really know how to jump into the boat and how to sail quick. And then when you get to the other side of the shore, you have to go up, then chug a beer. So when you're practicing, you also have to learn to chug a beer. So there's like different methods. Like I heard that they like swirl the bottle, so it like spins around, and then they flip it, because then it spins around and into your mouth. So they chug a beer, and then they have to like run around it 10 times, I think. So around around the beer bottle. Oh, okay. So they put it down, then they run around the beer bottle.
Yeah. So they get dizzy.
Yeah. And actually I read like an article where they were like, it's really important to train for it, because otherwise it can get really dangerous, especially when you jump into a boat afterwards. Yeah. But then you go back, then it's the next person's turn. So everyone has to do that. Okay. But it's actually a bit like a festival. So it's not only about the boat race, it's about a lot of other traditions. So I think usually it's like 30,000, 50,000 people who gather in that park. Wow. And last year it started I think people started coming to the park at 2 because they wanted a good spot. Wow. So they come at like 2 at night. I heard some even start at like 10 the day afterwards, where they basically start drinking, because you are not allowed to sleep in the park. So, you have to stay awake. And sometimes, people can take a short nap, and then they'll like look out for guards or whatever. So usually, like I heard at 4 or something, it was really crowded near the lake, because people wanted a good spot. So basically it's like a festival. You have like food stands, you have places you can buy beer, and you can bring your own if you want to. But then there's other things happening during those hours. For instance, we have like talking about racing around the sea. We actually have a naked race, I think, where it's like, I don't know what the winner gets, but usually it's like, then you see 20 naked people run around the lake. And then I think it ends up like you actually have to cross the lake, so you have to jump into it as well and swim. And that's not weird. But then they also had like, what's it called? I think it's like each faculty has like they usually do like a song before the race starts. So you can like Google, and you can see videos where people have been making good songs about how they're going to win and how everyone else is a loser or something like that. And they also do like a performance show thing before the race actually starts. And usually it's really weird stuff. I talked with a friend a couple of days ago who told me that somebody dressed up as Scooby-Doo, like the team, like one of the teams did that, and then they made something. Humbug, like the Faculty of Art, they did like a Jurassic Park thing. So it was like a dinosaur who came like in on a boat, and then it started like, killing people, but it's like the inflatable one, so it was just like slamming people with its head. But beside from that, we have a weird thing. It actually, I think it got banned this year. But we have had the tradition of like, I think it's economy. They have like the group called UF, where they hire Denmark's best stripper to do a strip show during that that mini festival in front of like everybody. So you would have like camera guys who's like filming so everyone can see it and stuff. And I talked with one of my friends from back at home, and his roommate is a part of that group, where they actually, it was a bit like where you have to bet on something, or like not bet. It like people have to like, it's a bit like an auction, I think he told me.
Yeah.
And then at the end, like the group who actually pays for the stripper, then you bet on higher and higher and higher. And the group who gets the highest bet, they actually get to be a part of the strip show. Really? So like my friend's roommate, he actually ended up being the guy who had to be dragged around, because one of the others, like the guy who said he wanted to do it, he billed them like he didn't want to do it anyway, so he was like fine. So he got like a strip show, dragged around with a leash and stuff in front of like 30,000 people. And that was like, that's normal. We don't really think about it. But I also know a girl who's like in the committee who actually arranged everything. And she told me that one year they had like this stripper, if they hired a stripper, but sometimes they want to be a bit extra. So that time they actually hired like a camel that she could ride. That she could ride in on that, and the camel came and stuff, and it was outside of the university, and they were ready to get her in, and then the guard stops them, and they're like, guys, you can't drag in a camel at first with a stripper on top when you have like 50,000 drunk people in a park. That's not gonna work out. So that happens as well, and it's a really huge thing. Like,
sounds exciting.
I feel like that's
Do you have to be
the best event
to go there?
No, everyone can join.
Okay.
So sometimes I haven't done it, but I talked with a girl who actually brought her younger sister to that event. Or you can see family who just walks in to see like the chaos and like feel the vibe.
Okay.
So everyone can join. You don't have to be from Aarhus University. So I think that's why it's a huge thing, because you can just enter basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds exciting.
Yeah.